So great to see all of you today. And this is a day that we're talking about the wisdom of play. So, more specifically, it's about the role that playfulness can have in shaping our lives. It's about how practices of playfulness can lead us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and maybe of each other, maybe of our world. Playfulness is something that we can draw upon during serious parts of our lives too. After I announced that in the weekly announcement that I planned to preach on the subject of playfulness, I started to feel a little sense of cognitive dissonance, because in a way it doesn't feel like play for me to be standing up here behind this big wooden podium and hogging the microphone while you sit out there in these orderly pews, What's up with that? Maybe we should just clear the room right now and just tell jokes. Play hokey pokey and dance and play. Well, I'm sure that you'd be really ready to do that if I let you. Because you're always up for whatever I suggest. But in our Sunday mornings, we've agreed to engage in this kind of ritual that somehow we do find enjoyable and playful in some way. Every week it's a little bit different. So we'll keep going with our regular format with maybe some little unusual playful things thrown in. Like, for example, we passed out some bubbles. So just get out your bubbles and start feeling the energy of playfulness. Blow them at each other. How long has it been since you had a little fun with the bubbles? Well, when I went to church in Santa Fe, all those years that I lived there, we had a really playful minister there named Reverend Webb Kitchell. And he had moved to Santa Fe in his older years after having gone to Harvard Divinity School and Stanford and lots of serious endeavors in his life. But when he came to Santa Fe, he met a coyote. And he started writing sermons about his deep dialogues with Don Coyote. So you can look it up online, but he has all these little booklets that he put out about the god dog, Coyote, and all of the messages that were brought him. So we were privileged to hear lots of these fun sermons about his conversations with the coyote. And I happened to look at one this week, and it said the coyote was talking to him about him coming to him about sermons. And Coyote said, "I'm sick of this. You're always coming to me for sermon ideas. And I just want you to know that the only thing that really matters when you die is how many times you have really belly laughed." So that was his message, his sermons. So, maybe you won't remember many of my words, but hopefully today you'll remember your laughter. The other day we were up at the Circle of Trust Center with a meeting for the Earth Temple. And lo and behold, right when we were seriously discussing everything, we looked out the window and there was a big coyote standing right there. You don't usually see them in the daylight, It came right up to our meeting about the Earth Temple, looked right at us. It stood there for a long time. Some of you were there, remember? And we said, whoa, this must mean something. So I've been trying to understand what that presence of the coyote was. Right when we were talking about the need to raise money and the serious matters of, our building campaign and so forth. So today, that's what I'd like to explore with you. Some of the messages that might be coming from the coyote. So stay tuned, and here we go with some wonderful music that just fits our theme of playfulness so well. I'm so happy to have you, Cornflower, with us. And he's passed out some song sheets, lyric sheets for this song, so please join in.
Thank you, Norma. Thank you, Unity, for welcoming me today. So this song is a song to your soul. So when you sing it, it's your affirmation to yourself, the universe, that this is who you are. And it's inspired by the words of Christ. I hope you enjoy it. And it's funky. get up and move around and dance if you feel called.
With all things I am one. 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 I am the light, I am the sun, I am the moon, I am the love, I am the stars deep in the sky, I am the source of my own light. With all things I am one. 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 I am the depth, I am the stone, I am the river, I am the flow, I am the silence deep in the trees, I am creation within every sea. With all things I am one. With all things I am one. With all things I am one. With all things I am one.
child, I really experienced that. How about you? I remember talking to my favorite spoon. I remember thinking that my stuffed animals were very real. And yet, I knew they weren't, but still it was important to me to really honor their presence. As I got older, I started to feel the separation more and experience the pain of human life, especially when I worked in the battered women's movement and saw so many people hurting each other. So I had to go on spiritual quests to rediscover that oneness that we hold so dear here at Unity. And I will never forget the moment when I was out in the desert with Doña Guadalupe, and I was so caught up in my seriousness and my remembrance of all of the pain that I had observed and thinking, what is this human life all about? And through the ceremony that we did with her, I came to this remembering of the experience of oneness. And it filled every cell of my being, and once again I could feel, as I touched the ground, my oneness with the rocks. And as I looked up at the bird, I could feel myself in flight. And as I looked at the moon, I could feel the light beams in myself being one. So we have to go through things on planet Earth, difficult things sometimes, but there's this place that we can find again and return to that we hope you experience when you come here to Unity each week, maybe a little taste of it, this beatific union, this experience of the oneness. So settle in and remember what you knew when you were a child. I have a reading for you by, Anya's going to bring it up right now, and it's a reading about children and what they know according to a psychological scientific study.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is just straight reading. This isn't poetry. I'll try to make it work. According to classic developmental theory, children under 10 or 11 years old simply do not have the conceptual ability to solve arguments like the following. All cats bark. Muffins is a cat. Does Muffins bark? When British researchers, says Dr. Gray, put syllogisms like this to young children in a serious tone of voice, the children answered as classical theory would predict. They said things like, no, cats go meow, they don't bark. They acted as if they were unable to think about a premise that did not fit with their real-world experiences. But when the researchers presented the same problems in a playful tone of voice, using words that made it clear that they were talking about a pretend world, children as young as 4 years old solved the problems easily. And even many 2-year-olds solved it. They said, yes, Muffin barks, as they giggled. Now think of it, says Dr. Gray. 4-year-olds in play easily solved logic problems that they were not supposed to be able to solve until they were about 10 or 11 years old. Now, isn't that amazing? How everything changes when we shift from a serious tone of voice to a playful tone of voice. Everything shifts, everything changes when we're playing.
And now from an old man named Meister Eckhart. You know who he was? He was, medieval Christian mystic. And he wrote a lot of wonderful poems and serious things, but here's a very short one. He said, "My Lord told me a joke, and seeing him laugh has done more for me than any scripture I will ever read." Our next song is called You, Me, We, and it's playing on this theme again of, who are we? We are really one with each other and really one with the divine.
Thank you, Norma. So You, Me, We is a call and response, and it requires your voice. Your voice is essential. And the intention of You, Me, We is us coming together in a safe container and expressing our voice and returning to our authentic resonance. So when we return to the world, our body feels the confidence of who we are when we speak. Does that make sense? So what I do is I tap my chest and keep the rhythm, and then I call out a phrase. Do-na. Do-na. You feeling that? Do-na. Do-na. So you can stay seated or stand up, whatever helps you feel comfortable and grounded in your voice. Okay? You all ready?
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, this is all about silly is also sacred. So feel free to get very silly. Do-na. Do-na. Do-na-na-de. Do-na-na-de. Dee-wa. Dee-wa. Way-oh. Way-oh. Ooh-ah. 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 Do-na-le-do. Do-na-le-do. We-da-na-de. We-da-na-de. We-da-da-do. We-da-da-do. Om-nay. Om-nay. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Dee-dee-dee-dee. Jigga-bagga-weeva. Jigga-bagga-weeva. Boom-ba-da-ba-dum. 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 Boom-ba-day. Boom-ba-day. Lee-lee-lee-doo. Lee-lee-lee-doo. Bleep-a-bleep-a-bleep-a. Bleep-a-bleep-a-bleep-a. Do-it-do-da. 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 Dee-dee-dee-la-da-da-da. Dee-dee-la-da-da-da. Dee-dee-lo-la-day. Dee-dee-lo-la-day. Ooh-ah. Ooh-ah. Wah. 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 Meow. Oh. Dum dum dum. Biddy bida balobi. Biddy bida balobi. Zippity bada. Bombay. Bombay. Yeah yeah. Yeah yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Ba-doom ba ba dee doo. Ba-doom ba dee doo. Ba-doom wee bap bap. Wee bap bap. Boop beep boop beep. Beep boop beep. Well let them beep boop dum dum beep. Come together, come together, come together, come together. Sing, come together, 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 come together. You, me, we, you, me, we, you, me, we, you, me, we, me, you, me, you, you, where the weaver, you, where the weaver, way by people, way by people, way by people, way by people, ba-doom doom ba-dow, ba-dow, wee ba wee bay, wee ba wee bay, you, me, we, you, me, we, you, me, we, you, me, we, you, me, you, me, we, you, me, we.
New Thought tradition, there's only one of us here. And now we're going to enter into a time of sharing our joys and our concerns, knowing that in our hearts, your concerns are my concerns, your joys are my joys. So it's a time of celebrating together and feeling the connection and feeling helped by the community that cares about you. We invite you to stay afterwards too and put a prayer request in the wooden prayer box, because we pray for those prayer requests on every Monday, and we care. And we've seen so many miracles happen through the answers to those prayers. It's amazing. One time we had a ceremony out of Jackson Wellsprings where Arlene brought big boxes and bags of all the prayer requests that had been put forth by our congregation, lots of them. And just to realize that all those prayer requests were prayed for and miracles happened, and we did a big burning ceremony with them. So take your joys and your concerns to heart. And right now, if you have something that you feel like you'd like to say out loud, if it's something you're celebrating or something that you want our prayer support in, just speak up, just a sentence or two about what it is.
Could you put your mic on also?
Oh, okay, sorry.
She's older and she's got a bladder infection, and it's going to this tremendous attitude change and a lot of confusion.
Hearts has these too. So we're just gathering them all up right now. And so if you haven't spoken it out, just hold it right now in your heart, what your prayer request is too. And let's pray together for a moment. We know, Great Spirit, that you are all love. We've experienced in the depths of our hearts, in certain moments, our unity with you. We cherish this. We know that through your love, all things are possible. Healing of the most difficult situations, healing of our bodies, healing for our families and our friends. So right now in this moment, we picture your healing love flowing out from this place to these people that we're concerned about. We picture this healing love flowing through our bodies, touching and healing every wounded place in our psyche, in our body, experiencing the golden light flowing through us of power, of healing, of transformation. We come here to open ourselves to you, Spirit. So we just take a deep breath together right now. And in the oneness of the Ruach, the breath of Spirit that we feel here in this room every week, we join our hearts together, knowing that where two or more are gathered, there's great power in our prayers. And we bring them to the altar of your great love, knowing that you care about us more than we can ever imagine, that you have the hairs of our head numbered, that you care about us, as it says, more than the lilies of the field that are blooming so beautifully. You care about us as much as knowing every single sparrow that falls to the ground. You know what's happening in our lives. So in this moment, we turn our lives over again to you in trust, in faith, with a grain of mustard seed, knowing that whatever has come to us, that it shall be healed, that it shall be made well. And let's say together, all manner of things are well. All manner of things are well, and all shall be well. And all shall be well. And so it is. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Spirit. Our next song.
Thank you, Norman. The song's called You Are the Medicine, and feel free to stand up and dance your prayers into the air.
open up your mind, open up your book, and let the pages unfold. Don't leave your story untold. You are blessed. This being sent here to heal the world. Love, love, love. You are blessed. This being sent here to heal the world. Love, love, love. Yeah, road to the top is not the same unto your heart. So be careful of the path you trodden on. For the people of this world all have a likeness to yourself, and a lesson for your soul to remain strong. The light it is a vehicle with all your inspiration, but the darkness also plays a major part. For the balance in this world will help you see your higher self, to bring the medicine and hold the righteous wrongs. Your life it is a prayer, so people tell me where you can find your temple when your heart is everywhere. It's not the things you wear, or the music that you dare, the quietude of mind that helps you bring the lion's share. I sing to people that's in you, 'cause everything you do is devotion, is holy recognition of the truth. And if we only knew the humble out of you, we can bow our heads and everyone will see it's true. Yes, it's true, yeah, yeah. You are blessed. It's been sent here to heal the world. Love, love, love. Yeah. You are blessed. It's been sent here to heal the world. With love, love, love. When we expand our awareness into every cell, we awaken the light. And now our presence evolves to all those who surround. The light inside, the light. Our presence allows a doorway into consciousness. Deeper than you can go, the bigger the love can exist. Oh, you are medicine. It's been sent here to heal the world. With our love, love. You are medicine. That's been sent here to heal the world. With our love, love. With our love, with our love, with our love, now with our love, with our love, with our love, with our love, now with our love, with our love, with our love, with our love, now with our love, with our love, with our love, with our love, now with our love, with our love, with our love, with our love, now with our love, with our love, with our love, with our love, now with our love, with our love, with our love, with our love, now with our love, with our love, with our love, with our love, now with our
I wanted to have Cornflower here with us for a long time. I'm so excited to experience it. Yeah, it really created such a feeling, didn't it? Oh, it was wonderful, wonderful. Oh, so when you feel into his music and how playful it is, it brings up this question for us of what is play? What is play? I mean, if you're a grown-up, if you're a kid, and if you're blessed to be growing up in a loving home that isn't a war zone, play and life are pretty much indistinguishable. But once we get to be adults, we put away childish things and turn to an ethic of productivity, right? play becomes something that is marketed to us. Like we've got to have the right shoes to go running, and then we've got to have other shoes to go walking, and other shoes to go climbing, and our play has to be purposeful, you know, like how many calories are we burning? And we buy pedometers and heart rate monitors, and we spend so much time calculating about how we're playing. Like I try to make myself go to the gym and spend an hour there doing about the same workout every time, and it's meditative, you know, and restorative, and I'm burning calories, but it isn't exactly playful. You know, I'm really more playful when I'm writing my sermons, because when I sit down to write, I let my mind just free associate, and sometimes it's like in space, like I'm going out into cyberspace, exploring things, and my mind is going out into the dream time, and I go to sleep and I dream about it, I wake up, I take a shower, it's all coming to me, you know. It's a very playful experience. So what is it supposed to be like to play? You know, going to the gym is supposed to be fun, and sermons are supposed to be like work. So sometimes I think we get a little bit mixed up about what is play and what is work. Depending on how soon my deadline is approaching for the sermon, I pretty much can feel like it's playing all the way up to coming here. And then when I get here, it really feels like play, because it feels like even though I'm standing up here talking, I'm having some kind of energetic interaction with you, you know. But in the Hindu religion, all of life is play, the way it seems for children. According to Hindu theology, creation is Leela, the play of the gods. And Krishna is the incarnation of divine play. This is roughly analogous to Jesus as the incarnation of love in Christian faith. Krishna is the incarnation of delightful play. In one festival held in his honor in Hindu countries, people line up in 2 rows and they throw colored water and colored powders at each other. Have you ever seen that online or something? You know, where they just get covered with all different colors.
Next week.
Yeah, let's do that next week. We might have to do it outside. Well, remember Alan Watts? He was writing around the time of some of this greatest play in history about 40 years ago with Woodstock going on and everything. And the biggest difference between Hinduism and Christianity, he said, is in each religion's answer to the question, is it serious? It being the whole shebang, the universe, existence, everything. Christianity, at least how it has grown to be through the centuries, has tended to say, oh my, yes, it's very serious. And Hinduism says, no, it isn't serious, it's Leela, it's all play. Well, of course, it's human nature, even for Hindus, I suspect, to get trapped in thinking sometimes that life is serious, that it's all painfully for real. But that is Maya, illusion, taking ourselves too seriously. Good and evil are just part of the game, and even the gods cannot control or predict the outcome. Doesn't mean we don't play hard, give it all we've got. But it seems likely that this piece of the Hindu worldview might help us keep our own struggles and triumphs in perspective. Unity, you know, we're blessed to draw upon wisdom from all the world's great religions. And in this increasingly multicultural congregation, I've known some of you here that are in the religious study of Hinduism. But in our Western culture, where churchgoers were exhorted to believe that all was happening to them, which included starvation and freezing to death in large numbers as settlers, and all of this was willed by God, whose pleasure it was to punish them for their sins. And then they went around punishing and killing others for being unbelievers. Very scary way to look at things. Yet even for those of us who long ago, or maybe more recently, escaped this kind of religion, might still be lurking there in our unconscious, this remnants of a kind of warped work ethic, making us feel guilty if we take time out to just play. Reminds me of the story of, let's say, the rabbi, because we're in the Havra here, who decided he was going to play hooky and didn't want to go to his synagogue ceremony. So he got somebody to take over for him, and he wanted to go out and play, so he went to play golf, and he wasn't all that good at it, but that day, oh my gosh, he got a hole-in-one. And there were angels looking down on him and talking about it, and one angel said, this isn't good, because here he is playing hooky. He shouldn't be playing hooky, and then he gets the hole-in-one. That's going to make him really like playing hooky. And the other angel looked at the situation. He said, yeah, but you know, he's not going to have that much pleasure because he can't tell anybody about it. So play. I might aspire to play like Krishna, but in our culture we're trained that we have to be intentional about it. Like play has to have some purpose or some usefulness. I have to make myself take time out for play lots of times. You know, I have to take time out for social outings or fun. I try not to count the number of meetings that I have in a given week for church or for my Circle of Trust Center. Not because I hate meetings. Often I quite like them. But because I suffer when there's too little unscheduled time left in the week for my mind and spirit to wander freely, paying attention to however I'm drawn toward and what I'm moving away from, just naturally. And that's the quality of play. That freedom of moving where you wish, choosing to follow sometimes, lead sometimes, experimenting, making mistakes, and then paying attention to what you're moving toward or moving away from. That's the basic way we discern our spiritual path, I think. So that means that play is essential to our spiritual path. Play is also necessary for our psychological health, for renewal, certainly, and for creativity. That's why I've had to consciously develop a practice of play that, unlike my sermon writing time, involves my body as well as my intellect. And I had one of our church members call me this week, and she texted me, and she said, with little hearts, she said, are you taking time to play and to nourish yourself? And I so appreciated that, and I think we could do that for each other more, you know, knowing how busy we are and how purposeful we are, to take a moment and ask each other, are you taking enough time to play, nurture yourself? But what about when we do have serious problems at hand? Do you ever stop to consider in those moments when there's something serious going on, the wisdom of play? Not usually, right? Usually we tend to get serious about serious problems. We tend even to get a little stern and telling others, or even with a little anger in our voice, like, this is serious, listen to me. And one of the topics we tend to get very serious about is money. No, it's very serious. The management of it, the lack of it, the need for it, the necessity of money to do anything in our lives. It can really feel quite serious at times. So today I was actually supposed to talk about prosperity and our fundraising budget, but I'm calling this the prelude sermon. We'll talk about prosperity. We'll talk about playfulness first, okay? I heard about this one congregation who was having quite a serious problem, and granted it was a ways back, but these human problems, they seem to be similar no matter what era we're living in. So this congregation, maybe they were needing to raise money to build their earth temple, I don't know, or maybe they had a big famine going on, or sickness was taking them all out, some kind of serious problem. So they called on a well-known Sufi master named Mullah Nasruddin to come to speak to them about this serious topic. So the first thing out of his mouth was, do you know what I'm going to say? Everyone looked around and shrugged their shoulders, raised their eyebrows. If we knew what he was going to say, why would we ask him to come? So their response was, no, we don't know. So with that, he announced, well, I have no desire to speak to people who don't even know what I'm going to say. So he left. This really confused and embarrassed everybody. So they thought maybe they'd misunderstood. So they called him back the next Sunday. And again, he asked if they knew what he was going to say. And this time they thought they knew the right answer. So they quickly replied, yes, we know what you're going to talk about. Well, said Nasruddin, since you already know what I'm going to say, I won't waste any more time. And he left. Now the people were just completely flummoxed, so they decided to try one more time to invite the mullah to come to speak to them the next week. So this time, though, they thought about it and talked about it together, and they got a little strategic about it. And so he came, and sure enough, he asked the same question. Do you know what I'm going to say? So forewarned is forearmed, right? So half of them said, yes, we do. And the other half right away said, no, we don't. Unfazed by their plot. As Rudin said, so let the half of you who know what I'm going to say tell the other half who don't know. Now, I can't say that I wasn't tempted by this story to ask the same question of you and then just let them choose how they may. That would be playful, right? And a sermon about wisdom of playfulness, maybe I should just let it end here, but it would be a short sermon. Frankly, I'm not sure myself what this Islamic holy fool was trying to get at, except maybe to trust our inner knowings, you know. But this seems clear. Whatever it was, he was playing with them. And he was playing by a different set of rules than his hearers. Like in some of those Rorschach tests, you know, where most of the people see a goblet, but then the other people see two faces. He was seeing the goblet, and they were seeing the two faces. He was just coming at things from a different angle. In the face of a serious challenge, he was trying to get something across to these people. I think about not being caught up in their seriousness. Now that is part of what makes up the wisdom of play. But I want you to listen to this one more wonderful story that comes from Boston psychology professor, researcher named Dr. Peter Gray about play. And he said this. A few years ago, he said, I had an experience that helped me see the difference between play and play, with a capital P. He said, I was invited by two 10-year-old girls, whom I knew well, to play a game of Scrabble. I've played a fair amount of Scrabble in my life, and I'm not bad at it, I must say. The two girls, in contrast, were complete novices, so I saw this as an opportunity to teach them. I would teach them the rules and some of the strategies for the Scrabble game. I would be their mentor. But as it turned out, they taught me something way more important than Scrabble. They loved the basic setup, taking turns at putting down letters in an organized way on the board with sets of letters interlocking with other sets in a crossword fashion, you know, making interesting designs. But they had no interest at all in keeping score, and the idea of limiting themselves to real, actual words just bored them. So they just quickly and effortlessly, with no overt discussion at all, and despite my initial protests, they just developed their own rules and their own strategy. Their unstated but obvious goal on each turn was to put down the longest, funniest, nonsense word that they could, using as many letters as possible from the rack, combined with at least one letter on the board, and it had to follow the rules of English phonology, or they would have put it like it had to sound like it could be a word, but it couldn't be an actual word. So the object was not to score points, but to make each other laugh. And laugh they did. They laughed like only two high-spirited 10-year-olds could laugh, who've been best friends for a long time. Sometimes one would challenge the other's word, asking for a definition, and the other would offer an hysterical definition that somehow seemed to fit with the weird word. And then they'd laugh some more. And he said, I realized as I pulled back and watched them and began to laugh with them, that my way of playing was something like what we usually call work. Their way of playing was play. I realized, too, that I used to play that as a child that way. What had happened to me in the meantime? So that's the story from Dr. Peter Gray. And note how he thought at first that he was going to teach the girls a thing or two. But ultimately, they pulled a Nesrudin on him. And in the end, they left him wondering what the heck has happened in his life. And that's because play is like that. It brings the aliveness back. It brings good things to us. It's natural. As we hear about the Scrabble story, we might find ourselves remembering how we used to play like the two little girls played. How we used to be able to get into that Nesrudin mindset. But no more. That means maybe our lives have gone contrary to nature. What's happened to us adults? Well, for one thing, just think about the sound of fun. Those two little girls laughing were probably really loud. And we grew up, a lot of us did, with that phrase, children should be seen but not heard. That was not about the kids. That was not about us doing anything wrong when we were laughing. That's about adults with trauma hangovers. And they couldn't bear fun happening around them, so they squelched it wherever they found it. It's not hard, after all, to explain how our lives got contrary to nature. Adult pain, adult fear. We can get so wrapped up in our fears that we get distracted from real life. And that's what happens when we watch the evening news. The fear pours in and we close down, and then in our country we try to control everything, our borders, our kids, squelch our travel desires because everything out there is dangerous. Well, what is real and what is pretend? Is the news really presenting us with what's real?
No.
Or is it pretend? Evolution has designed children to know innately the difference between real and pretend, but adults can get really mixed up about this. Maybe we need to turn off the news and fantasize more about the world we want to live in. We need to play what the future will be. We need to play in our workplaces, play in our church places. We even need to play in a specifically risky sort of way, like climbing heights and going fast and chasing and being chased and wrestling and wandering and getting lost, because it teaches us how to regulate fear and anger. Did you know that when risky play is denied to children, that they get a lot more emotional disorders? An enjoyable part of my past work was leading adults in ropes courses and river rafting expeditions. Play is essential to our mental health. We've got to loosen up. We've got to shape-shift out of our stuck identities and be able to play dress-up in adult life. We do that sometimes here, but just mostly on Halloween, you know. But if playfulness involves freedom to enter into and to leave, to sense into what we want to come close to or move away from, think of all the ways in which you might be tied to a position that you can't afford to leave, to a marriage or to something else. Recently, someone told me about a job that they were tied to with golden shackles. How many people settle into their jobs because it's good money, but it's soul-killing? I just want to end with briefly telling you 5 factors to look for to recognize true play, which all can be illustrated by that Scrabble story. And these 5 factors could be the same 5 factors that you might think about as an effective spiritual approach to any of life's serious problems, including money, or health, or pain of any kind. So the first quality of true play is that its activity is freely entered into. For the 2 girls playing Scrabble, there's absolutely no feeling being pushed into something against their will, no sense that it's impossible to quit it. If a person feels coerced or forced, it's not freedom, and therefore it's not playful. They could delight in the Scrabble because nobody was forcing them to. So be thinking about this. What kind of spirituality do you have? What kind of religion? What kind of things going on in your life? The second factor is think for a moment about how the girls were self-determining. They were free agents to determine their own rules and their own strategy. It was playful for them, but they didn't want to be micromanaged in the details by Dr. Gray. It's the same for us. Play is all about a huge freedom of expression. A bold freedom of expression. The third factor is, in all playfulness, of course, imagination. Scrabble and conventional reality aims at real actual words, but the girls just cut loose into their nonsense words, and their imagination was just ignited. Imagination can even go so far as to find windows where there seem to be only walls. You never know how far our imagination can go into creating reality. Just think about Jules Verne in 1870 in the book 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. He fantasized about electric submarines. 1870, no electricity existed, no submarines existed. Science eventually brought into creation what Jules Verne dreamed up. Perhaps that's why our unity teachings are getting at when they say, what you can imagine, you can have. It also reminds me of what Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Now, what I've just done with this Einstein quote is to suggest the practical usefulness of play. And this usefulness is tremendous. But the irony here is that the emphasis on usefulness actually violates the fourth factor of genuine play, that it's done primarily for the sake of fun and not for any other ulterior motive. So our Scrabble playing girls are not endeavoring to create new words, they just want to giggle. They just want to make each other laugh so hard that they've got, things coming out of their nostrils and falling over, and that's the principal thing. And any qualifying genuine play, that you've got to be just doing it for the sake of doing it. And finally, the fifth factor, in all genuine playfulness, you have to be completely absorbed in it, intensely and utterly focused on just that. You're not distressed, you're not afraid of failure, you're not distracted by any worries. The path to learning how might take you through the valley of the shadow of awkwardness. You might appear foolish, but you're not afraid. You just give yourself to the process, no matter how messy. And this is what makes play. Activity that is freely entered, self-determining, full of imagination. It's valuable in itself, and it's characterized by this mindset of utter absorption. So I suggest that we as adults, when we're heading into the serious issues that we have at hand, that we let go of our joylessness scripts that we run so deeply sometimes. And there's a saying that Muslims say, take one step towards God, and God takes seven steps towards you. They say, walk to God, and God will come running to you. So if playfulness is anything, like Meister Eckhart said, it is the God-Goddess energy stirring in us. And I'm suggesting that we here at Unity, that we take ourselves a little less seriously, and that we take the next step of our creation together, of the Earth Temple, whatever we're going to do, raise money in very playful ways. We may want to start walking toward God only in this playful energy. Let's call on Nesrudin to help us. And that coyote that came along the other day, coyote wisdom can go a long ways. So now I'd invite you just for a couple of moments to sit quietly, and let's go on a little prosperity meditation. One of my congregants was thinking that this was going to be a prosperity Sunday, and she sent me this prosperity meditation. It's just brief, but it just fits so well. So it weaves in, how playfulness really does relate to our oneness with a God who is giving us everything that we need. So I invite you to take a long, slow, deep breath. Feel your back relax, your hips sitting on the chair, your legs relax. Deep breath. Feel your heart space opening. Don't try to think about anything, nor struggle to stop any thinking. Just invite the Spirit of God, who is playful, to come and be with you right now, delightfully, in your heart. The Christ presence, the Buddha presence, the presence of Nasruddin. Just invite these wise players into our hearts. And I want you to invite them right now, even though it's a little bit scary, into your financial affairs. God, Goddess tells us that, know that I am with you always. I am all you seek. Seek therefore only me. I am the spirit of the invisible and the visible. I am the substance behind all things. I am the energy of creation. Follow me. come towards me and I will run towards you. In this meditative moment, let your consciousness realize that I am all plentifulness. Substance is flowing from the center of me to the center of you. You are the I am. A constant, bountiful force without end bubbles up from within you. Embody the infinity of this flow. Then realize that its fullness is flowing out of you into everyone around you, prospering everyone around you. See the radiating light flowing out from you throughout this room. Imagine this radiating light of abundance flowing out beyond this room to our community. Unity, people being a blessing to this community. And then imagine, just imagine, this light stream is now a bridge on which the visible supply of all abundance is traveling to us, through us, and out to the whole world. You see that light stream, that rainbow bridge? After you get this light connection clearly made between you and all the world, see this visible supply flowing through you, returning to you in waves of good as you give out, rolling, flowing to you from every direction, back to the center that you are, that I am. Let the waves of prosperity just engulf you, everything you need. God cares about you. See yourself using the supply of all abundance for peace, for joy, for love. This light bridge, it needs to be supported within you by love and compassion. Therefore, let your thoughts and emotions and words and actions be loving, no matter what's going on. Unconditionally loving. Ageless wisdom teaches us that money is the energy of divinity, and that in fulfilling our needs, we are working with the core energy of the universe, of love. Don't shut down the love vibration, no matter what circumstance you're in. Feel the complete unconditional love for everyone. Don't put a heavy restriction on this invisible supply. The light bridge must be supported with and by love. Money is an effect. When you concentrate on the effect, you're forgetting the cause. And when you forget the cause, the effect begins to diminish. When you focus your attention on getting money, you're actually shutting off your supply. You must cease believing that money is your substance, your supply, your support, your security, your safety. Money is not. The God of all love is. Take your mind off money and material possessions. They're just the effects. And focus, meditate, concentrate only on the lavish abundance of divine substance that is forever flowing from the master consciousness within you. Take your stand and prove God now. Oh, let's see what happens this week with this meditation on abundance working in your life. Oh. How do you feel after the meditation? I mean, what comes to you? Anything you want to pop out and say about the sermon or the meditation? Encouraged? Held. Health? Held.
What if there's no end? 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 What if there's no end?
Benediction. Like the cosmic dust flowing after a great Perseid meteor, we are the living remnants of time and all that has come to pass in its wake. briefly shining lights on the way to eternity. We are only visible to the naked eye for an instant. Take this moment to shine like the stardust you are. May the light of our time on earth shine to bless the world and each other. Go out from here today shining, shining, shining.